going to read you the whole thing, but here's the end. Derek Carr to Raider fans. I once said that if I'm not a Raider, I would rather be at home, and I meant that, but I never envisioned it ending this way. That fire burning inside of me to win a championship still rages. A fire no man can extinguish, only God. So I look forward to a new city and a new team who, no matter the circumstance, will get everything I have. Winning a championship is what I've always wanted and what I will continue to work towards. God bless you all, and with love, DC4.
So would you say a burning rage, like a hunka burning fire?
Okay, listen to this and tell me you don't think it sounds like it.
I love Josh. I love the car. I love our coaches. I'm sorry.
Derek,
to finish that, sorry for being emotional. I'm just pissed off about some of the things that a lot of us try and do just to practice what we put our bodies through just to sleep at night.
Yeah, he's getting a little Brian Kelly putting on a southern accent.
Sleep at night. Not. Yeah.
So why? Okay, you could do it, Elvis. Why would you have read that in an Elvis voice?
Well, anyway, Derek Carr says goodbye today.
Why am I the only one to do bad impersonations on the show?
Because you're the only one with the stupid guts.
And by the way, the guy who played Elvis in the movie, Austin Butler.
Yeah.
He's from Anaheim. He's not from Australia.
I didn't know where you got Australia.
I don't know. Everybody who does a good accent is usually English. I figured when I watched that movie, I'm like, that guy's not from Memphis, Tennessee. He's probably English. But anyway, I digress. So, Derek Carr.
So, Derek Carr says sayonara today. And we knew it was coming, but now it makes it official. So, there's two questions now to be answered. Number one, where is Derek Carr going to play next year? And number two, who's going to replace Derek Carr in Las Vegas? I think one answer is much easier than the other answer. To me, the who will replace Derek Carr feels a lot more easy to answer than the where will Derek Carr play. And the reason why is I'm just going off of who their head coach is, Josh McDaniels. I would imagine that it's going to be somebody who was linked to his time with the Patriots. So that leaves two options to me. You either put the hard sell on Brady and you try to get him for a year, or you go after Jimmy Garoppolo. To me, these are the two things in Las Vegas that make the most sense for the immediate future.
Right, except that you're not – Las Vegas is competing with other teams for those two guys.
Right.
Specifically Miami. So Mike McDaniel also has a lot of Jimmy G experience, the Dolphins coach.
Of course.
And now, you get the natural fit with Miami and Tom Brady. So are you sure that they can get those guys? Are we sure that...
Well, maybe whoever doesn't go to Miami, maybe goes to Vegas or vice versa.
That's a good point. I feel like it's a default. Isn't it funny how Jimmy G and Tom Brady seem to be linked together? I love the idea, but what if Tampa Bay wants Jimmy G and gets in a bidding war and they don't get him? Although you're right, the coaching connection feels strong to me.
Well, that to me is the easier one to answer. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but it just feels like someone with a Patriots connection. Now, if you want to see, maybe think a little bit outside the box, heard people talk about maybe a trade for Mac Jones if the Patriots want to move on, but then what do the Patriots do at quarterback? They just took Mac Jones with the 15th overall pick. You're really going to trade him away? It doesn't seem right.
Bailey Zappi time. They don't want it. Did you think they want to play him? Did you hear Belichick talk about him at the end of the year?
He said he couldn't. Yeah, remember they couldn't attempt the Hail Mary because he said he couldn't throw the ball more than 55 yards or something, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of moving parts here because there's so many teams that are going to be involved in this that I think both sides are pretty tricky. I don't think the Raiders. What about Jarrett Stidham, by the way, too, or some? And what's the only quarterback who's won a playoff game with Josh McDaniels? He's available.
The only quarterback to win a playoff game?
Yeah, under Josh McDaniels, yeah.
As a head coach, you mean?
No, what quarterback won a playoff game for Josh McDaniels? Tim Tebow, of course, is out there. Why not bring Tebow back?
What? Yeah, I like this.
Did you never? By the way, Lightning's going to hit our show.
Manny wants Tebow back. Are we not done with Tebow?
There is some randomness about Josh McDaniels. Yeah, this is going to be really fun. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. The Raiders have to decide by February 15th.
3 days after the Super Bowl, I believe.
Right. They have to trade him by then, or they'll have to cut him to not pay this money.
And cutting him, they don't get, they don't hit a lot on their dead cap, if anyone cares about that. But I would imagine you'd want to recoup something. Now, he has a no-trade clause, which does give him a degree of power here. So, you might want to pump the brakes, Jets fans, or whatever. I don't know how appealing. Well, maybe the Jets' job is a little more appealing now. Their defense is good. They do have some young talent, some good weapons. But, that whole Derek Carr and cold weather thing, if that's real, then it's going to be a slog.
Yeah, I would think the two best spots for Derek Carr, the way he plays, would probably be the Jets and the Dolphins in the AFC East because of the receiver talent. So Derek Carr is one of those quarterbacks who needs everything around him pretty good. And the Jets and the Dolphins are kind of, now listen, the Jets have a lot of health issues, but they're kind of loaded on offensive line with first-round picks. You throw in a Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore in New York.
I know, but is Mekhi Becton going to play again?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Are you going to give me a Mekhi Becton next year or no? Does anyone know? And Elijah Vera Tucker is pretty good, too.
They traded up for him.
So I think the Jets have a lot to promise, but I think, I'm sorry, not to make this a Jets conversation. If the Jets do they have to give up their entire future to get Lamar Jackson, or do you bring in a quarterback like Derek Carr who accentuates your strength, which to me right now on offense is Garrett Wilson? I feel like
he's incredible. He had a 1,000-yard receiving season when he was throwing to nobodies were throwing to him.
Yeah, and I feel like Derek Carr, that kind of feels like a match. Now, listen, is Derek Carr a guaranteed Super Bowl winner? No way. But I think they might look at him and say he's good, and I think he can complement what we have right now on offense.
Okay, so two other things to add to that. One, the owner of the Jets, Woody Johnson, was talking today, and he said, we'll spare no expense if we want to go after a big veteran quarterback. He called it the missing piece has been that franchise quarterback. And, I don't think teams do this on purpose, but the Jets have drafted quarterbacks, their last two, with top 3 picks. Sam Darnold, of course, and then Zach Wilson. Is this a time to go back into the draft? Like, it's almost like you can't even sell that to your fan base. It's like, all right, guys, let's all get behind Will Levis now. It's like, I don't think that's going to fly.
No.
So I think they have to go veteran. You need to go opposite. It's like a breakup. You need
Big time.
Date somebody who's different than the last guy. There's a Zach Wilson joke that I'm not going to make in there. But
somebody younger?
That person would be older, an older woman. No, I think that Carr is going to be very appealing. I think Jimmy G is going to be appealing, although his injury history has got to be a little bit concerning for anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh, by the way, they need to name an offensive coordinator as well. So that plays into this too. Maybe you could look at that hire as the key to figuring out their quarterback.
Can I propose another place for Derek Carr?
Yeah, hit me.
The Saints do not have a first-round pick.
Yeah.
They traded it to your Philadelphia Eagles for some ungodly reason. I have no idea. They have in their second round, they own the 40th overall pick, and the third round, the 71st overall pick.
Right.
Is Derek Carr getting a second round pick as a return? Probably. I mean, do you take the 40th overall pick? I think I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Now, who's my coach?
Dennis Allen is your coach.
Is he definitely going to survive this?
I mean, if he survived today, what's different?
But he's terrible. If Dennis Allen's going to be your coach next year, then front office should aim for 3-14 and just start over. I mean,
but you have Chris Olave. You do have a good offensive line. Like, there are some.
That offensive line is not all the Pro Bowlers that were there for the Saints.
Well, but I know.
All right, you have Chris Olave and an old Alvin Kamara, the ghost of Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Cam Jordan is going to be 34. You have nothing.
Derek Carr is going to be 34.
Well, yeah, but Derek Carr isn't a pass rusher who relies 100% on speed. Honestly, the Saints, I feel like the Saints would be just stringing together. They might as well keep Jameis. I mean, I don't know why they would do Derek Carr.
Well, because they need something.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
No offense to your boy, Andy Dalton.
Well, listen, they have another quarterback there. Why not just go full Taysom?
They've never gone full Taysom. If they wanted to, they had multiple opportunities, and they never have.
Peyton did say some interesting things this year that he would consider going full Taysom down the road. Yeah, I don't know. Like, going from Andy Dalton, who had, by the way, his second best career pass rating. Andy Dalton was shredding people all season long. I mean, he was like 18 for 24 every single game. They just couldn't get in the end zone because they have they have really no big time. They have Chris Olave, who's amazing. But they're not an explosive offense, right? They couldn't get any big plays. They could just sort of chip down the field with Andy Dalton. Isn't that kind of what Derek Carr does?
I mean, Derek Carr's a better quarterback than Andy.
I mean, yes, but much better. I mean, Andy's a 4-time Pro Bowler. Derek's what, 2?
Yeah, 855-224 CBS. It doesn't sound right. If you're like, who's a better quarterback, Andy Dalton or Derek Carr? It's like my instinct is it's Carr.
Yeah, but I think after this year, a lot of people probably like, I don't know if Derek Carr is a starting quarterback.